Hello there. So today we are going to start with a new reading. It's chapter 20, reading 20 in the curriculum, 2019 curriculum, which is also applicable to 2020 and 2021. In this one, we are going to talk about capital budgeting. So my background is in engineering, and as an engineer, I had to work on a lot of projects. I had to do a lot of calculation for NPV and IRR. At that time, basically, I had to search from online how to calculate NPV, how to calculate IRR, or maybe learn from my seniors how to do that. So my understanding was quite limited when I was working on all these capital projects. Over time, I got some better idea, but still never had that good of an understanding. Then I studied for my CFA level 2, and I came to learn about these nice concept and got the idea behind them, that how to do all this calculation, how to make judgment based on different NPV, different IRR. So I learned a lot from this chapter, and I hope that you guys will also learn a lot. It's a really interesting chapter, especially if you're an engineer or your background is in engineering. You will definitely enjoy this chapter. So let me give you some overview of this chapter. So it's a pretty long chapter here, but we can start with. So in the beginning, we have some background information which we learned in level 1. So in that, there are a couple of pages, maybe 7 or 8 pages in the book, and it shows you how to calculate net present value, how to calculate internal rate of return, payback period, discount payback period, and profitability index. Once you know all these things, then it goes into discussing issue with multiple IRR and no IRR. The When I was learning, or I was going through this chapter, I realized the best way to understand this no IRR or multiple IRR issue is just by making a plot. If you make a plot where you have the NPV on the y-axis and the discount rate or required rate of return on the x-axis, then you will get a very good idea what multiple IRR and no IRR mean. Then the book talks about, it assumed that you have two projects, project A and project B. Project A has high NPV, but project B has high IRR. Which one will you select? And it gives a very good explanation which one you should select and what should be your selection criteria. Then the book starts with the level 2 curriculum. It starts with some real world problem, real world calculation, and the real world in such a sense that you are working for a company and you have a machine, and the machine is producing some product, and you are making profit out of that machine. The machine is getting old, it needs to be replaced by a newer model or a different model which can have multiple functionality. So someone asks you this question, you have to go and calculate the NPV or IRR if there are multiple machines, and you have to select which one is the best one based on these criteria which we are going to learn in this chapter. Then it talks about impact of inflation. Again, this is really interesting. This inflation will keep on coming in different books here in the level 3 in the level 2 and level 3 curriculum. And basically what it says, that when inflation is more than expected, then your depreciation is going to be low. And how will it happen? Let's say you have a machine worth of $100, and its life is 5 years. So assuming it's a uniform depreciation, then in after 1 year the value of your machine will be 80. But because inflation is high, so its value may not be 80, it may be 90. And if it's 90, your depreciation is 10 instead of 20. So when you are calculating your earning before tax, that will be higher number because your depreciation is low, and then you have to pay high income tax. At the same time, internal rate of return takes depreciation into consideration, so your internal rate of return or required rate of return is going to be a high number. It means your profitability is going to be a low number. So there is a pretty significant impact of inflation, and fairly soon it gets quite complex. Then we will learn about mutually exclusive project with unequal lives, and what it means, that you have project A and project B. Project A has higher NPV, but the life of the project is 5 years. Project B has low NPV, but life of the project is 2 years. So which one will you select? And then it gives two methods. One is least common multiple and second is equivalent annual annuity. So in my experience, the second method, the annuity method, is the best one and easy to use. So if we are using it, that will be extremely helpful. Then the book talks about capital rationing. And capital rationing, it assumes that your budget, the money you have, is limited and you have project from A to Z. So how are you going to distribute your money among these different projects? And that's capital rationing. And it will give some, the book will try to give you some idea how to find out the best projects. After that, it goes into risk analysis. So we know that NPV is our main metrics, and all the projects should be based on NPV. But then we make a lot of assumption while calculating NPV, and if any of those assumption has a range, has a is variable in nature, then our NPV is going to be variable in nature. So the max NPV and the lowest NPV you are going to get, that the range is basically the risk of that project. The book talks about a different type of analysis to find out how risky a project is. So first one is sensitivity analysis. In that, we are going to change one variable at a time and see its impact on NPV. In scenario analysis, we are going to have most likely pessimistic, optimistic scenario, and we are going to find out the range for NPV. And the Monte Carlo simulation, this is again a good one, where we know that everything is not in a binary phase like 0, 1, good, bad. We can have a whole distribution. So if all the input variables, and when I'm using the word input variable, I'm talking about, say, cash flow, or I'm talking about required rate of return. So all these input variables are going to have a distribution, and because of that, NPV is going to have its own distribution. So Monte Carlo simulation will give us the idea how that distribution of NPV looks like. Then the next point is required rate of return. When I was working on my projects, different organization, different firms, then corporate people will tell me that just use 8 to 12% as required rate of return. Just select any number in the middle, and I will end up selecting 10%. But the book talks about how to calculate that required rate of return, and it's pretty eye-opening. It mostly says that your required rate of return is proportional to risk. So higher risky the project, more should be required rate of return. After this, the book goes to option. Option is similar to like call option, put option, but in a slightly different manner. It says that assume you are starting a gold mine, and starting a gold mine is a massive capital project. It can go like 1 billion, 2 billion, where you have to invest that much money into this project, and the profitability will depend the price of gold. So today, if you spend, let's say you are spending roughly around $300 million today, and a year later, if the gold price drops down, your project may be not profitable. But if gold price goes up, your project will be highly profitable. So it talks about those options and how we can get benefit out of those options, or how to make call whether we should continue with the project or whether we should not. Then at the very end, it talks about that NPV is not the only method to calculate the project profitability. We can also use some other methods, and these other methods are economic income and residual income. If the calculations are done right, assumptions made are right, then all these methods will point in the same direction. So this was the overview of this reading. We will go more in detail. If you have any question, any specific question, please feel free to ask in the comment section, and I will try to answer it ASAP. Thank you.